Are you too busy? You probably say, yes, I'm too busy because most people are too busy. Too busy for what? Too busy for a lot of things that actually are much more important than the busyness that we fill our lives with. And we all do it or have done it to a certain extent because the energy in the world, the mesmerism in the world is that it is good to be busy and it's good to be productive. And I actually remember that many years ago when I lived in Denmark, the tendency in Denmark, this is where I'm from, by the way, is that when you say, no, how are you doing? Back in those days that I lived there, the answer would be something like, as little as possible. That's how you could answer that question. And then when I came to America, people would say, "Oh, how are you doing?" "Oh, I'm really busy." And I learned that, oh, it's important to be busy here because that was the the answer that everybody gave. And it was like, oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm busy, so I'm good. So that's part of the mesmerism we live in. And when we're mesmerized or hypnotized or under the veil, we don't know that we're doing that. We just think that's how it is. And it is like that for many, many people, if not most. And there is very little time to go inside, to self reflect, to take a deep breath, and to just be, even just for a moment. Even if the mind is still busy, you can take a breath and just land in yourself and land in this moment. And just feel what it's actually like to not be so darn busy. But anyway, I wanted to read you a poem that I wrote also many years ago, I think 10 years ago or something. And it came out of a conversation that I had with a friend. I was talking about how I was making my food. I love to grow my own food and prepare my own food. It's all organic and natural. And I grow most of my food and then I make funny foods, or maybe not funny foods, but fun foods like sauerkraut. And then I make sauerkraut crackers and I make nettle soup and, fun things. It's just something I enjoy. And he says, well, I don't have time for that. And I remember I was like, you don't have time to eat good food? Because I think he was always on the go and he would just buy something, fast food maybe. And it's something clicked in me. It's like, you don't have time to take care of yourself, to make sure you're healthy and taken good care of. And I really sat with that for a while. It's like, that is so weird. What is life about then if it isn't about just being yourself and nourishing yourself and enjoying the moment? So this poem came out and it is called Too Busy with a question mark. So let me read it to you and then hopefully you will enjoy it and you can probably relate to it. So sit down. If you want, close your eyes and just listen and see how it resonates or not. Too busy? Are you too busy to listen to what you need and long for in the deepest recess of your heart? Too busy to cook yourself a nourishing meal instead of doing what is fast and easy? Too busy to say no to what you know is not right and that you have ignored for the sake of convenience? Too busy to listen to your friend in need, whom you gave a quick piece of advice so you could get back to your busy, important life? Are you too busy to see what is happening in the world Well, the trees are disappearing, the butterflies are dying, the sky is filled with trails, and the clouds are running dry. Too busy to kiss the flowers, hug the trees, smell the spring fragrance, hear the birds sing, taste the tree ripened fruit, play with the children, dance in the rain, sing in the sun, and bury your hands in the luscious soil. Too busy to fly into the field where infinite magic is waiting for you to be embraced and embodied. So you can bring it forth into this world where everyone is too busy to notice anything but their own sense of lack and limitation. Are you too busy to even notice that you're too busy and that you have forgotten the language of your beautiful heart? Sweet friend, take a breath, listen to your heart, and let it lead your way. Let's take that deep breath and give yourself permission to not be so busy when you don't have to be busy. We do have a tendency to make ourselves busy in order to fit into this world that is thriving on busyness and yet suffering from lack of connection, lack of purpose. The busyness is often just a matter of surviving and being successful to the outside. But many, many busy people, they're not happy on the inside. They're just doing it to survive and look good. So let's just take a look at that and see. I would say I would invite you to maybe where could you be a little less busy? When are you doing things that are really not that important? Are you willing to take the risk to look lazy, dare I say it, unproductive, not contributing to society? Be seen as somebody who doesn't have it all together, like there's something wrong with you if you're not busy all the time? What would it be like to say, if somebody says, what are you up to these days? And you would just say, as little as possible. What would people say? How would they react? What are you afraid that they might say or think about you? Give it a try. See if you can switch the energy just a little bit and just bring a new frequency. Bring a frequency that comes from deep within. And that is much slower in its expression. Now, it does not mean that you won't be really busy, but the busyness is not from up here as a buzzing, like following what everybody else does. And you have to know the latest in this and follow the latest in that. But just for a moment, drop that. And then just feel. Who would you be if you just were not so busy, if you were not so identified with being busy? Would that be okay with you? Can you let yourself be somebody who is not busy all the time. I have to admit that when I stopped being so busy all the time, I felt a little ashamed. If people would ask me, like, so Pernilla, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm not doing hardly anything right now. I'm just meditating or going for walks. And that was a period, actually a long period in my life where there was nothing happening. And I was just waiting for this movement to come up and move me, not from here like the old ways, because I used to be so darn busy and I didn't really know I was busy. I was just so busy because it was like this energy that had just taken me over and I just needed to be busy all the time. And then I felt like, okay, and then I was like everybody else. So it was challenging at first and say, I'm not really doing much these days. And they were talking about, all the success and the this and that. And I'm like, no, I'm just being these days. And that's it. So it took me a little while to feel comfortable, to maybe judged by them, or maybe I inspired them, who knows? So that's my invitation if you want to explore that a little bit in yourself. Just see if there's anything that you're busy with that may not be necessary. And maybe you can instead take that deep breath. Just feel, what would you like to do instead of being so busy? What is waiting here to be expressed? So you can actually get in touch with it when you leave behind the busyness. Can you just feel like, gosh, I would just like to sit down and have a cup of tea or just look at that little worm in the earth, whatever it is. Give it a try. Thank you so much.